Yeah, you didn't read that thumbnail wrong. It looks like Nintendo have actually done something good. They have released a bunch of free update information for the Switch 2 launch for games that were in a terrible state. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, well, there's some big changes there. Alright, this feels like the first all patched up video for like the Switch 2. What are the changes? Let's find out. Okay, so the first game that was been announced is ARMS, which is really interesting. That will receive a free update on June the 5th, and that includes a number of different changes. You've got visual changes, so it says optimized for the Nintendo Switch 2 display and high resolution TVs. So what we thinking, 4K?
I wouldn't imagine so. Yeah, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. And it also says frame rate as well, optimized for Nintendo Switch 2 for smoother movement, even when playing with 3 or more players, and high dynamic range TV support. So interesting, I think, that they've updated ARMS this late in the day.
Yeah, I mean, ARMS was one of their first like new franchises or new games for the Switch, wasn't it? It came out relatively early on, I seem to remember.
Yeah, and I think it was much better almost than the support it got.
I think it became a good game over time. I didn't play it originally. I bought it quite early on, just didn't get round to it. By the time I played it, it had a few updates and whatnot, you know, and became a good game, quite a lot of fun. So it sounds like a lot of this is performance / visual based then.
Yeah, so some big increases. Again, I think it's nice, and it's about time really that Nintendo started to give away some freebies, if that makes sense. The second game then is Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain. And this says that it's getting game share support, so up to 4 people can play in party mode, and that you'll be able to share locally or share online via game chat. So yeah, pretty basic.
Yeah, this is an ideal game for game share. Like, this is perfect for that, because I seem to remember, because I reviewed this ages ago, and I played it with my daughter for the most part, like the competitive modes and whatnot. And I seem to remember you had to both use the same Switch and like touch the touch screens at the same time or something like that, you know?
Right, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so obviously with game share, you can have your own screen each and still effectively do the same thing.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Nice, like, free update and something that's actually going to improve the experience.
Yeah, this is very much like a DS. I said about this game share, it reminds me of the DS, the way that handled this sort of multiplayer. And back then you had brain training and things like that, didn't you? You know, like the, what was the other one called? Dr. Karizawa something. Do you remember? It was massive. Everyone had it.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I worked in game when that
came out. So it makes sense to do that to this game, even if this game obviously didn't get as big a reception as that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to see it on there, to be honest. It's nice to see them actually thinking about the smaller, perhaps more obscure side. Not smaller, but, you know, the maybe forgotten side.
Yeah, relative to Nintendo's other games, it's a smaller one, isn't it?
Next up, we've got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. And all of these, by the way, will receive this upgrade day 1. So June the 5th, Switch 2 launch day. These are the updates here. We've got visuals optimized for the Nintendo Switch display. Again, high res, aka 4K, and HDR support. And they've added in game share support for 2 people. And you can share locally or share online via game chat.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Again, I've played this, but I played it on the Wii U. I never bought it on the Switch, but it's a very good game. I don't remember the multiplayer mode well enough to comment on how it would benefit from being part of game share. Do you know what I mean? Like whether it's just a case of you needed 2 copies and now you don't, I don't really know. Perhaps someone could let us know in the comments what this game was like in multiplayer, because I only ever played it on the Wii U, as I said.
Yeah, it seems to suggest that one person owns the game, but all of you, or 2 of you, sorry, will be able to play all of those courses. So that's at least something.
Okay, yeah, I'd just be interested to know whether that was a part of the game originally, but you needed a copy each, or whether this is a brand new way of playing it, you know?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that would be worth knowing for sure. Next up is one, I think you actually quite like these games. It's the Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, which again is getting game share support for 4 players. And so you can play 34 of the games via that mode.
Yeah, this is a perfect game for game share. This is the game to show off game share, because it's just a collection of small, you know, card games and board games from back in the day. And you would be passing the Switch from one to the other. I remember my wife and I brought this on holiday with us a couple of years back, and we were playing things like Yahtzee and things like that. But you're having your turn, then you're giving the switch to the next person, and it worked okay. But to do the exact same thing but have a screen each, again, it's just more convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Now, off the back of that one, we've got the Game Builder Garage, which I didn't play. I can't remember if you did.
I did, yeah. Funny enough, I was talking about this the other day in another video. Do you remember I said there's a game and it's got a yellow box and I can't remember the name of it? This is the game I was talking about. I think I said it looks like that new Welcome Tour game. I think that's why I was talking about it.
Right, okay, well, maybe they heard you because they've included visual upgrades again. So it's like Switch 2 display, 4K, all the good stuff. You'd expect frame rates would follow as well. And joycon to mouse controls.
Yeah, again, that's a great implementation. This is a game where you create your own little games using a number of tutorials that the game obviously teaches you. And, you know, the visuals and blah, blah, blah is fine, why not? But it wouldn't really make a difference. But that mouse compatibility is a game changer. You know, that would make this so much more fun, I'm sure. Well, not fun necessarily, but just make it so much easier to navigate.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes a difference in certain titles way more than others.
Yeah, and this is, again, I think they've cherry-picked games that will show off certain features like game share, like mouse support, and some that just needed a boost in performance, you know?
Absolutely. So following on, we've got New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which has its, I would guess, visual upgrade. And when we say these visual upgrades with the 4K and high resolution support and HDR, I would expect that would also mean 120 FPS.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think so on a first-party game if they're wanting to show off the true power of their new console. You'd want to see them take an older game and just spruce it up to the max, wouldn't you?
You really would. Yeah, you really would. Now I'm going to leave a couple of titles to the very end of this list because they deserve a little bit more time, and I'm going to brush over to the next Mario game, which is Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Now this is getting a ton of updates. So firstly, you've got the visuals, so it's again optimized 4K, all of that stuff. It does specifically mention frame rate, so it says optimized for a smoother movement, including the Bowser's Fury update. Also HDR support. This interestingly has game share support as well for up to 4 players that can play Super Mario 3D World.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And in Bowser's Fury, 2 people can play together with 1 player controlling Mario and the other controlling Bowser Jr.
Do you know what is good is when you spoke about the previous game, Mario Bros. U, and you didn't mention game share, I was quite disappointed because, again, you know, putting it in things like Clubhouse games or worldwide games, I think it's called elsewhere, is fine, but why not put it in a Mario game? So to hear they're putting it in this one is good because this game, when it released on the Wii U, was the whole point of it really was the fact that it was a multiplayer 3D game. So to emphasize that by allowing game share is a good thing, you know?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, as does the next one, which is Super Mario Odyssey, which again, it sees the same visual upgrades. So I would hope for all the good things, your 4K, your HDR support, all of that. But they have included game share support here so that 2 people can play together with 1 controlling Mario and the other controlling Cappy.
Okay.
It's like what you could do before.
I mean, if you could do it before and now you can do it on game share, it's all good. I mean, although that's probably the best of those 3 Mario games, that's probably the weakest implementation of multiplayer out of the 3, you know, but it is what it was before, and to have it on game share can only be a plus, really, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I feel like they could have gone a little step further there, you know, giving you a second proper character.
Yeah, that would have been them going well above and beyond, wouldn't it? That would have been them saying, like, this is the power of game share. We can actually add in new features to the game. Clearly, they've decided that's not the way they want to go with that one, though.
No. So then we've got the 2 Zelda titles, the first of which I know you're going to be really excited about, which is The Legend of Zelda Link's
Yeah, I'm delighted because I'm assuming it's going to get a nice big visual boost and performance boost.
Yes, well it says visuals, so it talks about visuals, so you're looking at 4K, high dynamic range as well, but it doesn't say frame rate specifically here, but you would it is annoying, but does it mean that it's just going to lock out at 30 and stay at 30? It's strange they haven't said.
I mean, the fact they have specifically said frame rate in some of the other ones and haven't in this is bewildering because this, of all these games, well, bar a couple that are coming up, I'm sure, but of all the ones we've mentioned so far, this is the one that needed it. We spoke about this in a top games of 2019 recently as per Metacritic, and this was on there, and I said in that, if it weren't for those frame rate issues, I'm sure this would have been higher. This is such a beautiful game and it deserves a frame rate that allows it to be played properly. I really do hope it does include that, or even if what they do means that is solved anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what this means when they're talking specifically about frame rate, I think that means it's targeting that 120.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, and I think when they don't mention it, it's just going to be locked out.
If that means it runs stably, then fair enough. You know what I mean? So as long as they fix the frame issue one way or another, I'll be happy, because this is a great game, and I'd play it through again if they did that, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm looking forward to seeing it in 4K as well. So off the back, you've got The Legends of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Again, the same improvements, but that one already hit 60, so you'd imagine it would actually be more consistent.
Yeah, there were some drops in this, I seem to remember, weren't there? Yeah.
Oh, there were.
So again, if they're fixing that and it runs nice and smoothly, then all the better. And this is one I didn't actually finish because I did like it, but it didn't quite hit my expectations. So I'll quite happily play this through once it looks as good as it can look, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the last one, the one that I've been saving, I'm sure you know what it is. It is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games. We'll bundle them together. We'll do them a favor. But these specifically mention visuals, so all the things, 4K. It doesn't mention high dynamic range. That could be an engine thing, like it's just not something that they can go through the Pokemon company to implement with that engine, I don't know. But it does mention frame rate. So it says improve for smoother movement on Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, that, to be honest, as good as it is that they've said this and they've clarified there are free upgrades coming, if the games, one of the games, technically two of the games on this list hadn't have been those two, people would still have taken it in a negative way because they're the ones that need the most help, aren't they, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess this is almost like the very first Switch 2 all patched up episode.
Kinda. Do you know what's interesting? I couldn't speak for all of them, but the two Zeldas certainly, the two Pokemon games, of course, they're not actually developed by Nintendo. So I wonder if a few of these, that's the same, and they're all second party / third party developers, but published by Nintendo, and they've now gone back and done what those teams couldn't have done, you know?
It could well be the case. We've seen it in other developers. We've seen it with Rockstar and GTA, you know, where they went back and were like, no, we're taking over a little bit. And
I mean, obviously Mario Odyssey, I'm sure is obviously Nintendo, themselves, but Mario 3D World and Mario Deluxe U were ports. So I just wonder if they handed porting duty over to someone else, you know?
Yeah, I do as well. I do. I think either way, just to see them finally announcing some things that are going to be on day one, completely free of charge.
Yeah, you take it, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Okay, so there we have it. That's the first big update announcements of free things for the Switch 2. Hopefully Nintendo get the vibe that people are actually wanting that type of stuff and push for it even more. Let us know down in the comments what you think. Hope you have a lovely weekend, and we'll catch you tomorrow for the upcoming games video and on Sunday for some backlog busting sales. Nice one. For all things Switch all the time, keep your Switch up. Cheers guys. See